This is Highway 59 heading northeast into Houston. And what's happening here is this is a relatively new-ish road. They've expanded it. There are some cars on it. Traffic is starting to thicken up, and I am going to be poking my way into Houston and trying to sneak out the top side. And we're coming up on rush hour here pretty quick, so I'm going to see if I can get away with this. And I want you to see the difference between yesterday, which was a wide open road the whole trip, and today. And I think it's going to be catastrophically different. I'm looking for the high-rise buildings, which I do not see yet on the horizon. Letting us know Houston is coming up. But that's the plan. Whether or not this plan works out is to be seen. We're going to try. I am bumping my speed up a little bit because I want to see if I can get up here and get through Houston and get out the other side before it just disintegrates. This is the outskirts. I think we're coming in through Sugarland from this angle. We're currently southwest of Houston. Oh, Roswell. I'm leaving Rosenberg. Sugarland's next. Where's the high rises? I see one in the distance. Oh, well, we're not there yet, but we're going to continue boogieing down this road, hoping I can get through here without getting immersed. Look how wide open this road is right now. There's some traffic, but not a lot. I'm sweating this because I don't know what's going to happen. I know how rush hour flows years ago when I was down here, but I'm not sure about the timing on it. We'll do our best here, but I got this started up early because I want to make sure I don't have to mess with the phone going down the road. Wind is still blowing, and my gas mileage is still terrible because of the headwind. But this is one of the directions Houston has expanded, whereas most big cities, it expands upward. Houston's got a lot of real estate that's unused, so it expands outward, which is where the phrase Houston is 2 hours from Houston. And there on the left, that's another apartment complex, and they're building those like housing is going out of style. There are 3 loops in Houston. The inner loop is the 610. The middle loop is the Beltway 8, which is a toll road, and now they have a new one that's come on the last few years called 99, which is also a toll road. And on principle, I avoid toll roads because there was one time I was out on the East Coast doing my job, and I got home and I had $120 for the tolls waiting on me when I got home, and I just kind of chafed my rear end. Howdy do down there. So we're going to see what happens up here. Speed limit 65. I'm going 65. This is Highway 59 to the southwest of Houston. We are coming into Houston up here in a few minutes, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get through there, the area, and blast up north right in front of rush hour. This is a theory, hoping this is going to work, and I don't know because I haven't done this in a while for down here. It's been a few years. I'm hoping this works. Yes, I know. I heard you the first time. Okay. So there's a little sprinkling of traffic. This isn't bad yet, but we're going to see what happens up here. Yesterday, going down to the Mexican border, I left north side of Houston, went through town, came down 59, wide open roads. Wide open to the point that I have never seen them that open, and I've lived in this area for 25 years. No, I don't. That's not K-band. That's X. That's KA band because I program my GPS, my radar. I turn off X and K because if you have K-band on, it's going to go off nonstop. Because for a few years, the anti-collision equipment in GM cars was K-band, and there aren't a whole lot of police departments that use K-band anymore. And one of the limitations of it, will you stop? One of the limitations of K-band is the vehicle has to be stationary. So that's why KA-band is the mainstream, especially in Texas. But there are a few departments, but I don't waste my time. I'm not going to pit maneuver somebody. I mean, technically I am empty, so it's different. I went out of service here a couple hours ago, so I'm just on my own. But this, I think, is, yeah, there's a sign, Sugarland. This is a really nice area. Very upscale, very clean, very modern. Yeah, on my radar detectors, I turn off X and K because that's just noise at this point. And when I did my cannonball, that's what I did. A few road beers. What's a road beer? Phoenix. Yeah, I got a friend of mine that lives in Phoenix. Glendale? Glendale, the outskirts. So Sugarland is technically, there's a water tower coming up, and it says that on there. This is technically part of Houston, but it's touching. Is this guy gonna do it? Yes, he is. Look at this. Ooh, we're all headed. Well, let's say where am I headed? Yesterday, I left. Well, Friday afternoon, I left a little town north of Milwaukee. Worked my way right in front of and a little bit through that massive storm. Houston to Guatemala, no. And I ended up coming home for a night, and then I got up Sunday, and I drove all the way through Houston to 59 and down to the Mexican border. Oh, the weather's beautiful. It's 38 degrees outside, not a cloud in the sky. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I came through town, and like I said, I have never seen the roads this open, including the middle of the night, and I have driven through Houston in the middle of the night. Absolutely crazy. So we're going to be coming in here to Houston. This is going to start building up. I think we clip through the medical center, and then we're going to hit, I'm shooting for the 610 inside loop. Going to chase that around and then hit I-45, go north, and hope for the best. Hope for the best being the key phrase. I imagine during COVID they were, but I wasn't down here. So I'm going right at the speed limit. You'll notice absolutely everybody is passing me. Yeah, but I wasn't in here I wasn't down here during COVID. I was on the East Coast, right? Where's the high rises? I don't see it. But you're noticing there's the sprinkling of cars starting to pick up here. New construction left and right. They don't do a lot of high rises outside the city, the downtown area. It is a lot more difficult to build high rises here because of the terrain. It's soft. That's why nobody down here has basements, because the soft soil. We don't have a rocky base to work with. You know, I grew up as a kid in Colorado. We had everybody had a basement in Colorado. Down here, nobody has. I don't think I've ever been in somebody's home in Texas, in this part of Texas, in a basement, not once over the years. And I used to, when I was flying medical, I used to come down to the medical center. They have a whole string of hospitals in a row. And you come in and you have to figure out, you're going in there at night, and they're saying, oh yeah, go to Herman Memorial. Well, there's 15 hospitals. Which one, you know, it's just a dark, it's a building with some funny lights on it and some roof lighting. Which one's which, you know, you gotta kind of play this where are we game. But Sugarland is a nice town. It's very beautiful. And you can get a really nice, beautiful home in Sugarland for $250,000, $300,000. You go out in California, that same house will cost you 1.3, 1.4 million. I mean, it's just, the cost of living here is so much different. That's why the California crowds. Going to Laredo? No, complete opposite. I made a run to Hidalgo, which is over by Brownsville, from Wisconsin, and I dropped this morning at 8 o'clock, and now I'm working my way home. So it was kind of like a Laredo run, but it was to a different place. I've never been to Hidalgo before, but I do Laredo runs all the time. The only Achilles heel of Laredo is you can't get a load out of there. There's almost nothing coming across the border, and there are vans parked everywhere down there. I mean, you go into any pilot or fly into any truck stop, you got 40 vans, all waiting on cargo that's not coming out, so... Nothing. No, I'm going back. This is the outskirts of Houston right here. My goal here, I got to keep the pace going here. I'm trying to get it. There's the high rises in the distance. Okay, I'm trying to get to the downtown, turn left or north, and zoom out of here. technically out of service right now, by the way. But this is a beautiful area. Notice the roads are a lot nicer up here. Back down there towards South Texas in the middle of nowhere, the roads look like something out of the 1950s, and they were extremely rough and very loud. This is actual concrete, not asphalt. '59 North, that's me. Sugarland. Oh yeah, they got these buildings will start popping up more and more common here. Like I said, this is a city that doesn't build up, it builds out, because there's a lot of unused real estate in the general vicinity. Oh, this is not California. This is outskirts of Houston, Texas. Like I said, I'm going the speed limit right now. Look at it, every single car is passing me. Years ago, the timing on rush hour was weird, and there was an area coming in right into the high-rise buildings, and I had a job down there and I had to head home, and you hit that downtown area at 3:45, you were okay. If you hit it at 3:47, you were done. I mean, it was over with. So I come into that area at 3:45, I turn the corner and I'm heading up 45, and my brain's going, get out of here, get away from everybody, and I'm booking it, and I'm looking around. No, this isn't 210, 59. And I am trying to get away from the cars around me, and I look down and I was doing 100 miles an hour, and everybody around me was doing the exact same speed, because we all had the same mindset. Get away from the downtown area, because everybody knew the timing on it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I have never, ever, ever in 25 years of living here seen a car get pulled over I-45 northbound from the downtown area up about the first 30 miles. Ever. Because that's just an area everybody knows that you have to go hard to get out. So things are starting to build up here even more. So here's the middle loop coming up. It's the Beltway 8, which I don't want to go on it because I don't want to pay $14 in tolls. And it's trying to tell me to get off up here, which I will not do. So I'm going to boogie in a little farther to the 610, which is the small loop, which you're going to see all that goes through the middle of some really big buildings on the over here on the east side of town. You're going to get to see quite a bit of it. There's, if you look over here on the left, on the other side of that wall, that's an HOV lane, and in the mornings, the HOV lane is open down into the city. They close it at 11, and at 1 o'clock, they turn it around and run it the opposite direction. So they have one HOV lane they share, so they give you that 2-hour envelope to make sure it's empty, and then they spin traffic around and go out the same HOV lane. It's kind of an interesting use of space. And oh, by the way, if it's HOV, so it's 2 people or more, or if you're on a motorcycle, that's another caveat. And I occasionally go to the VA, the big VA in Houston, and I get on my badass scooter and drive down. So there's the turnoff for the middle loop around Houston off to the right there. Check out the spaghetti bowl right there. I have seen, there's quite a few YouTube videos of accidents here, and it always seems to come down to somebody stopping in the middle of the road for some odd reason at night, getting slammed into. I am northeastbound on Highway 59 coming into Houston right here, and my goal is to get up here as lickety-split as I can to catch the 610 loop around the east side to hit I-45 north and to get out of Houston. And we're going to see how this plays out. It's just the lighting, the sun's behind us, so it kind of works out. So this is going to slowly get more, I gets busier, more cars, but we're still ahead of rush hour by about 45 minutes to an hour before rush hour. Houston, California. No, sorry. Houston, Texas. Yes, that's where I'm headed, Loop 610. Yeah, so you notice the highways are really nice here. And what kills the roads up north is you get ice. The ice goes into cracks. And of course, ice forms. When water gets to cracks, ice form. And the ice expands. And it's going to move whatever's there. And it cracks the roads. We don't really have that down here. That's why the roads stay relatively nice. The guy's got the fart can exhaust pipe on his big bad Miata. Ever thought of becoming a what? This many people work there. This isn't crowded. That's what I'm saying right now. This isn't. I'm looking at the outbound traffic on the other side, and there's not a lot of cars over there, which is a good sign. Which means rush hour isn't warmed up yet, which is good. It's showing 3 o'clock here local. No, it snowed up by, if you look at Texarkana, which is in the northeast corner, there was a bunch of snow up there and frost, and it knocked a bunch of power out. But no, it doesn't snow down here. It's extremely rare, like once every 10 years. It was cold. I was down on the Mexican border this morning. I woke up, it was 28 degrees, which is also great Texas. Yeah, there's areas way up north in Panhandle, but not down here. So many lanes. Yeah, right now we've got 4 lanes, the HOV, and the turn lane to play with. All right, my attention is becoming more and more out the windows. Miles. Snowed it? Oh, did it? Snowed over in Austin? Yeah, I didn't hear of any snow down here at all. I know up in the Panhandle of Texas, which is quite a distance away, and they had snow. They have snow up there all the time, but it just, a little. It was weird. I drove down 40 and 30 through Arkansas with ice all over the roads. I hit Texarkana, turned south on 59 way up there, and as soon as I got to Texas, the snow on the roads, there was no more ice on the roads. There was some snow on the shoulders, but the roads were dry. It's like Texas doesn't like ice or something. The buildings are starting to pick up here. Notice I've got thunder. You've got a little thunder sleep. Oh, is that what happened up there? I wasn't around for it. I was on the road. All right, like I said, I need my 610 loop. I'm starting to see more high rises pop up. The speed limit's 60, and I'm a little over that, and I'm still getting passed by everybody. Like I said, I'm trying to get through here before it goes crazy. When I did my cannonball back in 2020, I got into LA on the backside of rush hour, and I hit the 410 loop around Los Angeles at 4:30 or something, and there was heavy traffic, but it was moving, and I looked at my GPS, and I was still 90 miles from my destination in Redondo Beach. How can you be in Los Angeles and be 90 miles from your destination in Los Angeles? And I was losing my ever-loving mind riding in that traffic, because as soon as the traffic slowed down and started the stop and go stuff, it was over. And it never did. I was doing 80, 85 miles an hour with everybody else in Los Angeles, and it just never slowed down. And I made it to the destination, and I got the time I needed. Yeah, this is Houston, all right. Like I said, I can't look down as much. I'm having to keep my eyes up. This road's been peeled. See how they've scraped the top layer off? They're doing something here. Oh, big truck. That was a bump. Okay, there's some high rises. There you go. Oh, bumper. That was a plastic grill laying in the middle of the road. Yeah, this is Houston. Slow traffic ahead. Be prepared to stop. I don't think so. Wow, there's an old saying: is a bad driver never misses their exit. And that guy right there. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, getting it. All right, sorry, little burst of 85 miles an hour there. Is that a big truck next to me? All right, here we go. 610 coming up. Well, I can tell you for a fact this truck will do 85 miles an hour. All right, here's a 610 loop. This is going to take us right, thread the needle through some really tall buildings. It's going to bring us around to I-45, which is the road I need to be on to get out of town. What are you driving? Well, can't you tell by the high-performance sounds the engine just made? I'm in a Ford Transit van, a Transit 250. There we go, south-north. So there's 610. For some reason, I thought this was further away. All right, here we go. You didn't hear the supercharger? All right, hold on a sec here. Like I said, I can't be watching the screen much. I gotta see what I'm doing. So here's the double ramp. And I haven't been on this road in a couple of years, actually. Notice the road is graded in the direction we're going. In case it does get icy, it takes the water away, gives you a little bit of grip in the turn. We have high humidity down here. And it actually, under certain conditions, it gets so humid, the roads get slippery. You're just driving along, and all of a sudden your car starts wiggling around, so it's like they raked it almost, if you look down. So we're going through the high rises here. This is kind of a cool, yeah, the traffic is moving, yes. Sounds like a high-performance Ferrari. I haven't really, that's about the fastest I ever had this. I had 85 there for a second, but I had to get over. And I think these vans have a 98 mile an hour speed limiter on it. All right, so we're here. I think that right lane goes away up here. Yeah, this is still moving good here. We're doing good. It's 305 local. Here we go. So Tacoma, no, not a Tacoma. Ford Transit, 250, medium roof, long bed, long stretch model. I've seen the short box. It looks kind of funny to me. Can't remember if this lane goes away or not, but here's some nice buildings. Amagi Bank, Owen, there's some names on them. Tanaris, whatever that is. And again, you notice the roads are nice. I don't want east, I want west, I'm going straight. Good, we're doing good. Exit only. No, that's not my lane. There's a place up here. Keep left at the fork. Yeah, I'm not going off to the right. On the other side of the road, you're coming the other way, and I can't really describe it, but everybody comes around the corner on a double merge, and everybody on the right needs to get to the left, and everybody on the left needs to get to the right, and it's this big mixture. It's like everybody is like mixing your fingers together, like, you know, you're weaving your fingers. Everybody goes left to right, everybody goes right, and everybody makes a super aggressive maneuver right here, and everybody knows that everybody else is going to make a super aggressive maneuver. They all know what's going to happen, and everybody's prepared for it, and you'll see hundreds of cars go whoosh through each other like a spaghetti strainer, and it absolutely cracks me up when it happens, but it's going the other way, and if we were doing it, you'd see it. Just people like scratching bumpers, but nobody's blowing horns, nobody gets mad. They just know that this is what's going to happen here. We all do it. And that is the one place, literally the one place you get to have this wonderful experience of all the drivers all doing the same thing at the same time, and everybody, it's kind of it's almost like line dancing. I mean, everybody's going to do this maneuver at once, and it's kind of enjoyable, because you'll never hear anybody blow a horn, nobody gets mad, nobody just, here it comes, woof, and we're moving. All right, here we go. Again, nice, notice clean highways, clean roads, good concrete work. And I'm noticing on the East Coast that they have a lot of the bridges are like girder bridges. They look, they're very decorative. I think they're high maintenance, but they're kind of fun to look at. If you notice, the bridges here are solid. They don't have all that framework. Even though I think the framework looks good, they don't use it here very often. I don't know if it's just a new style or what, but everything here is solid. Like I said, Texas, financially speaking, Texas has their, as the Germans would say, Scheiße together. You know, whereas a lot of states, their budget's all upside down. The last time I checked, the state of Texas had a $45 billion budget surplus. I mean, they do it right. The government down, and the Texas government knows what they're doing. And they don't overtax people. They've actually reduced, there's not even an income tax down here. And that's why a lot of businesses come here. And they get you on property taxes. But because the surplus was so high, they literally cut property taxes in half last year. Because they just run the state properly. They do a good job of it. That's why they're able to afford to have the roads like this. And we have the lowest gas prices in the country. There was a gas station 10 miles from the house last night up here. I live north of Houston. It was $2.02 for regular. I mean, that's the lowest price I've seen. You know, whereas traditionally politicians go, ooh, we have extra money, we're going to find something to go piss it away on. Here they don't play that. Whoa, dude, right on. Here in Texas, they don't play that game, and people don't let them. Oh yeah, $45 billion is an awful lot of rain, but yeah, they've got enough money to keep things going, and you know, they vote on projects and stuff. That yellow stripe on the wall is new. That wasn't here last time I drove on this road, like a reflective stripe. Okay, now we're gonna come here, we're gonna work our way over into the left lane. Yeah, a lot of businesses come here for tax reasons and regulatory reasons, whereas California taxes people to death, and the regulations is strangling. You come here and they're like, hey, dude, do what you got to do, you know? And they don't tax people really hard. Again, there's people writing on the screen, but I can't really look at it right now. I apologize. We're going to follow this for a little distance, and then we're going to do a hard left onto the main drag. And then I'm going to work my way over into the defensive position. Gone out of fashion in the country, too. Indicator's gone out of time. No, actually, people are usually pretty good about it. I've done a lot of work in Louisiana, and I noticed that people don't, get the turning signal option on their vehicles they buy. But no, people are pretty good. When people are going way faster, they don't do it because there's not really affecting anybody. But they're pretty good about it around here. All right. Again, the road is graded like a rake. If you look at it in front of us, that does make a difference. I was in Austin a few years ago, and I was driving with my wife at night, and it was humid outside. And I was talking about how the roads were shiny from the moisture, and the person in front of us spun out. Absolutely lost it. Yeah, pensions. Wow. My dad was a pilot for United Airlines, and he retired years ago. And it's a unionized, I talk about pensions, it's a unionized company. And when you're in a union, you're a member of the union. As an active employee, you are a voting member. As an inactive employee, you are considered a non-voting member. Well, here a few years back, Delta Airlines went through some hard times, and they decided a way to save money was to completely remove the pensions of the non-voting members. So much for your pension. They just go, yeah, we're just not going to pay that anymore. Have a nice life. Oh, you want to vote against it? You can't. You're non-voting. That's why pensions are a little bit scary, because they can pull the plug out from under you whenever they feel like it. I hear about Australia, everything is so expensive. The Houston area, Texas in general, but the Houston area is probably one of the most, your money goes a long way down here. If you get on a computer and you look up what's called salary comparison, and you put where you live right now, and then go to another state, and whatever dollar figure you want to move, say you make $75,000, and you say, I want to move to this other city, this other state, and you put that information in, it will tell you the cost of living comparison. You say, oh, it's 94% the cost of living here, or 120%, and it breaks it down: housing, utilities, transportation, food, medical. It will break down where the money comes from. Is the road got cut lines? Yeah, well, this doesn't right here. But yeah, it's like they drag, I don't know how they do it, but it's like they drag grooves into it. All right, coming up here on our turn. This is working out really good right now because the traffic is moving. I've been on this road in the past during rush hour, and you ever heard the expression, gee, I could have got out and walked faster? Gee, I could have got out on my hands and knees and crawled faster. I mean, we're just sitting here looking at each other. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right, I want to slide over here. They've got the rules here in the United States. You have two lanes. You drive on the right and pass on the left. The left lane's considered the hammer lane or the show-off lane. When I get up here on I-45, I think there's like 4 or 5 lanes to play with. I have a tendency to shoot to the far left lane, not because I'm passing, but because it's a defensive position. When you're in the middle of traffic and you have cars on 4 sides of you, that's 4 problems coming at you. If you're in the far left lane, nobody can get at you from the left side because the wall, see this wall right here? That's how close it is. That's why I do that. All right, here we go. And this is going to merge in. This is kind of an ugly merge coming up. So far as traffic's moving. All right, here we go. Still moving, which is good. I-45 northbound. All right. Coming over 1. So is that guy. And coming over 2. And I'm going for my hidey hole. There's the HOV lane to the left. You see that behind the concrete wall? That's the one that goes inbound in the mornings and outbound in the afternoons. It's kind of a neat idea. I hear you. All right. Sliding over. Okay, here's my defensive position going through Houston. I like to stay over here because, like I said, nobody can hit me on the left side. This is what's called, this area is inside the 610 loop, or I just passed it. Man, that's the inside. That's the oldest part of Houston. 6 years. Bro, they are. Who is? Dallas? What? Yeah, when they do heavy maintenance on these roads, it drives people crazy because you can't shut everything down. You can do it on the weekend or do it at night or something. All right. So this is the area where you can basically drive as fast as you want because nobody ever gets pulled over here. I've literally been doing 90 miles an hour on this road and had a cop car go by me. Okay, on the left side, you're going to see this little plastic wall. It's like a plastic topper. That's for wind. They were having a problem with wind affecting things, but there's a car right there going north, a Mini. Well, that plastic's falling down. But that's the end. Like I said, they open the HOV going inbound in the mornings, and they close it at 11. And at 1 o'clock, they just spin it 180 degrees, and everybody goes out. Yes, Houston. I don't live in Houston proper. I live outside of town, but this is the direction we're going right now. We got ahead of rush hour. This is perfect. I-45. I was driving on here one night, dark, pretty heavy traffic, and I see a little fire burning in the middle of the road. like a little, like the size of your palm, a fire. I'm like, well, that was interesting. You know, maybe 30 seconds later, another little fire burning in the middle of the road, and somebody was driving along, and they had, I guess, that little Ford products sometimes have a cloth cover under your engine, and for some reason it was overheating or rubbing exhaust or something, and was on fire, and little pieces of the cloth were dropping out from the car and leaving little flames and little piles of flame in the road. Boring road. Oh, yeah, this is not a German Autobahn, obviously. I've been on the Autobahn. This area is kind of old, and it's not exactly high-tech. When we get up here a little further, it gets a little bit nicer. This area is a little, I don't want to say ghetto, but it's not exactly high-tech. This is the older part. The people with the money do not live in Houston. They live outside of. There we go. There used to be a turn up here from the HOV lane. It was a hard U-turn, and when I say hard, I mean if you're going more than 10 miles an hour, you're not going to make it, and people would get off at highway speeds and try to make the turn with a 0% success rate. And it had big flashing lights. Do not, 10 miles an hour, don't even try it. And people slammed into the wall so often they finally closed the exit because people wouldn't stop doing it. Snow. Really? Snow on the road? All right. I got a guy coming up behind me. I'm going to get up here and move over and let him go by. Yeah, that's right. Box van going by. All right. This guy move over, let this guy go by. Yeah, I was on the Autobahn, but that was when I was in Germany. I was back in 1987. And their highways are much, much better. They also last longer. And Germans are dead serious when they drive. They don't, talk on their phones. They don't eat. They don't even have conversations. They're just driving. That dude in that Ultimate just about clipped me. Literally. Wow, that was close. The flag's showing we're straight into a headwind here. So northbound I-45. Why would you be on your phone? Americans do everything but drive when they're in their car. It's mind-boggling. You look out the window, and as far as passengers, I would say 99% of the people that are in passenger cars, the passengers are playing on their phones, and of the drivers, it's probably 2 out of 3. It's mine. You see where my phone is just sitting in a mount. That's where it hangs out. This is Houston, outside of city, northbound on I-45. Last night, yesterday, I drove down to the Mexican border to drop off my load. I unloaded my van at 8 o'clock this morning, and now I'm shooting back north, and my biggest concern was getting in front of rush hour, which we're coming up, the Guns Point. Heck yeah. There's an area up here called Greenspoint, and everybody calls it Guns Point because of the clientele that live there, and there was a mall that finally went out of business because of that. Yeah, Guns Point. Is this it? It's real close to it. Yeah, this is like, this area is on the right. It's like, it's total ghetto. Yeah, but the mall had so much violence and stuff in it, they pulled the plug. Malls, there's only one mall in this entire area that I know of that's operational, and it's north of town in the Woodlands, which is the high rent district. And they have, where we're at, I was in Germany, it was in 1987, and the only town that I can remember the name of was Augustdorf. And I couldn't tell you where that is. But that was, 1987. And I was playing Army, that's why I was over there. And here is the turnoff for Beltway 8, which is the loop. The middle loop, I should say. And the Greenspoint Mall is the Greenspoint area is just off to the right side past this turnoff. August, as in the month of. It was called August Dorf, I believe the name. And I have no idea, up in possibly the northern part of the country. And we maneuvered around there in the northern area. That was the American sector. The British had a different area. This is Interstate 45, northbound out of Houston. This is Beltway 8, all these roads over our head. Beltway 8, which is the middle loop around Houston. And we're continuing northbound. Off the right side is the Greenspoint area, which is and ahead of us is Spring, Texas, which is, I don't know, fair to partly cloudy. More snow. Check it out. Whatever's vehicle that fell off on. We have enough dragons. These guys are in a hurry. No, this is a Ford Transit. That van that just passed us, I look like that. That white van up there, that's what I look like. Yeah, and this, I tell you what, I'm wearing long pants right now, and honestly, I don't think I wore a pair of long pants for a year. Until I got up here and the winter hit, and all of a sudden it got cold outside. I wear shorts all the time down here. It's just the way we do things. These are the guys in a big hurry. I'm going exactly the speed limit right now. And look at this dude. Another guy in a big hurry. I'm not a Mercedes fan. They're not any more or less reliable than any other car, and when they break down, they cost way more money to fix just because the parts have an M stamped on them. The rules of the road are a little different when you get up here. You're in the middle of a town. This is not an open interstate. And if people are going faster than me, I stay out of the right lane. You want to stay out of the left lane because people are getting in and off, and some of these get in and off lanes are 2 lanes at a time. So you're kind of not blocking people on either side by staying in the middle. So I'm kind of hiding out here in the middle a little bit. Because there's double on ramps, double off ramps, and eventually, and I leave the left lane alone for people like this guy right here. And eventually that HOV lane is going to dump off into the main drag. But the rules of the road, the general open interstate highway don't really apply when you're in the middle of town. Over this on a regular basis. Oh yeah, that's normal. The idiots. One reason I endeavor to drive slower than the traffic around me is when most people get tangled up in a wreck. I don't want to be in the middle of it, so I let the momentum carry itself away from me. But yeah, driving like an idiot is not uncommon. And this is what makes it dangerous. It's not the speed, it's the disparity of speed. If everybody was going 50 miles an hour, it's safe. If everybody's going 100 miles an hour, it's safe. But when you map people going the speed limit and 1 or 2 people going under and a handful of people driving like jackasses, zigzagging in and out. Talk about they don't use the gas, they drive by horn. 1 hand on the steering wheel, 1 hand on the horn. That's how you drive in Saudi Arabia. That guy doesn't have a bumper. All right, I'm just going to leave the speed. I'm going the speed limit right now at 65. Am I coming to Dallas? No, I'm going just north of Houston here where I live. And you're right. There's a Jack in the Crack up here. I'm not stopping for anything. I am just very happy that I made it through without rush hour kicking me, because it's coming up on 3:30, and starting at about 3:45 is when things start going downhill fast. Behind us, not up here. It takes a little longer to get up here. But this is nice right here. I'm happy this worked out. Yep, the Woodlands, we're coming up here pretty quick. And that's the kind of the high rent district. You go to their grocery stores and they have all those specialty food sections with all the fancy stuff. On the right lane. I can't read that language. Yeah, the whole thing is 65. But again, you've got the on and off ramps over here, and you see the people zigzagging in and out. So if you're over the right, you're liable to have somebody go shooting past you and try to take off your front bumper when they shoot for the exit, because the idea of passing behind you just doesn't fit into their schedule or something. And now the HOV lane here on the left is going to dump out into that left lane here in a minute. Well, this worked out awesome. There were no cars on the road when I went through, and now coming up here, this is pretty sparse actually. And that is the end of the covered HOV. Now it's open lane, and the problem is there's no enforcement of it, and you'll see people swinging in and out of it when the traffic gets heavy, even though it's supposed to. But there's no enforcement of it. It's just one of those things. So this is still in spring. We're coming up on the Woodlands. Up here in the Woodlands on the right side, there is one of those indoor skydiving centers. You are walking cars. There's nobody behind me. I don't know what rules of the road you're working at, but I'm out of the left lane. I'm not getting involved with the people getting on and off this lane and the one coming right now. And I'm looking in the mirror. There's nobody within 100 yards back of my car. Just letting you know. They have one of those indoor skydiving centers up here. And I took my wife to one in California, and they let you float around in the box. It's kind of fun. Pump this up. A lot of car dealers up here. Yeah, the other day we were talking about car dealers. They have humongous car auctions down here. You can go to them if you want, but you have to have a dealer's license to buy a car. But you'll walk into this place that just goes on forever. There'll be 300 cars with the keys in them, and people climb and look at them, and they have like the numbers on the windshield. They run the cars through the auction, and people buy them and take them to their car lots and sell them. It's a big business, and the reason it's a place like cars is they don't have rust down here. They don't use salt on the roads, since they rarely get frost down here on frozen roads. So you don't have rusty cars. If you look around, none of these cars have rust on them. Lake Effect. Yeah, this is light traffic. You know, I'm in a box van. I can't exactly get out here and do Indianapolis 500 stuff in it, but you know, when I'm in my car, yeah, I'm driving a little differently. I had my Mini Cooper I had for my flying job, and I drove that car way differently. There's a water park here on the right. It's a kind of a ghetto water park, and my wife took our kids there one time and came back, and she said, "I don't have near enough tattoos." How big is Houston? Let's put it this way. Houston is 2 hours from Houston. You can tailgate who you want. It's not going to get you anywhere. As long as you're not blocking the road. You know, I usually hang out in the right lane, but the right lane's going to start going away here in a minute. The left lane is where the hot rods drive. Yeah, tailgating doesn't work in this part of the world. But people usually, like I said, I'm not in the hammer lane over there, so I'm dynamite. Winter weather. Now this overpass in front of us, this is the 99 loop. That's the outer loop. That's the new one for Houston. It's also a toll road. But that overpass right there, and the one that's on the very top that's bending away from us, that's the merge ramp that's going to come down and dump into this right lane over here. And then a couple of those lanes are about to go away. This is where a lot of the oil company big offices are located. That right there, that's one of them. Let's see here. Yeah, over the years, this area, I've watched a lot of these buildings go up through here over the years. This field off to the right should place. That was an open field for a while. They need to pressure wash that bridge. That looks terrible. This is the Woodlands right here. This is kind of the high rent district. And the Woodlands years ago was all by itself. Houston is, whoa, look at the other side of the road there. Look at this. They got the whole highway blocked off. Somebody bought something up. Hold on a second. I'm going to call that out. Hey, southbound, they got the right few lanes blocked here coming up on that overpass. Work your way over towards the Hammer Lane, HOV lane. Sorry. Hey, you got to let the drivers know what's going on sometimes. All right, this is the Woodlands. This is like I said, this is a fairly high rent area. Yeah, you tell the truckers what's going on because it's hardest for them to change the look. Oh, that's loud. Oh, that was loud. All right, here we go. Cars shooting by in the HOV lane, all solo drivers. Again, there's no enforcement of it up here. Those, over there's two buildings, two high-rises. One's hard to see because the reflection on it's different. But those, at least years ago, they were owned by the oil company called Anadarko. And that is a checkpoint for aircraft flying VFR, going into airport where David Wade Hooks and into Intercontinental. That's a checkpoint. You say checkpoint Anadarko, and everybody knows where that is because that's the only two high-rise buildings in the area. I don't know who owns them now, but they still call it the Anadarko building. That's the significance of that. That area around those buildings is absolutely beautiful. They have I don't know if it's operational, but they had a little boats that ran around. You could ride like a water taxi boat around this whole little, really nice area. I haven't been over there in a while. I want to probably take the wife and go check out all the little restaurants and stuff down there. Where am I? I am north of Houston. Heading north on I-45 going through the Woodlands. So I'm out of the city proper and I'm trying to get home, and we got here in front of rush hour traffic, and that's the most important part. Over on the right there's a gray building poking up right by that yellow exit only sign. That's the indoor skydiving center. If you haven't done that, you need to try it. They literally put you in a suit and throw you into a tube full of air, and they said you're flying around in the tube. And my wife got to do it, and it was a trip to watch her. Alrighty. Again, nice area. There's an actual mall right over here. There's a big fancy bridge and waterways and waterworks. That's a really, really nice area to go walk around and check out right there. And some medical centers. I used to fly into those. Yeah, I should go film that area one of these days. All right. the hospitals. Yeah, there's Memorial Hermann. I used to fly in there. There's a children's, Memorial Children's or something. It's one of these right here, and I used to fly in there. And one of them has a helipad that a certain company can use, and then they got one that's under the power lines that's for us. And I had to go in there at night one time, and that was not a fun experience. Having to slither in there in the dark, sideways to the wind between the building and some massive power lines was a really unfun experience. And why they put a helipad under some massive power lines is a mystery to me. But I didn't enjoy that in the slightest. This over here is an outdoor shopping center called the Portofino. It's kind of decorative with Coliseum-looking roofs and stuff. That's a really nice area too. Behind these trees, we can see it right there. They spent some time making that look nice. And this is getting closer to where I live. Yeah, it's nice to be home. I did, 2 nights ago, I did sleep in my own bed, but I had to leave yesterday to get down there to drop. Yeah, the Woodlands, like I said, the Woodlands used to be, completely isolated from Houston. Well, now Houston is spread out to where it's bumping shoulders. And, of course, the Houston local government's trying to get their tax base. They're trying to stick their finger in their tax pool. And the Woodlands said no. And they tried to do all kinds of maneuvers to get their hands on it. And they said no. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there being nothing here. I talked to a guy that lived up the town I'm going to in the 70s, which now is 100,000 people, and he said you could walk across town and be in the shade of trees. And if you wanted to go out to lunch, you better bring a bag with you, a bag of lunch, because there was no restaurants up here. And it was crazy. The town I live in, when I moved there in 2001, had 36,000 people living in it, and now it has 110,000. That's how much it's grown. And I owned a house, we have a townhouse now, but I owned a house way to the west about 10 miles. And there was nothing but woods around me, and now I drive in there, and you could drive down my street, go to my house, which is about 150 yards down the street. I was the first house. Now you drive down that street, you can count 50 rooftops before you get to my old house. It's just a lot of people are moving in. It's something sad about, up till about 15 years ago, you see all these lanes up here at this next overpass. Yeah, I'm north of Houston. I'm north of we're going through the Woodlands through Magnolia at this point. But about 15, 18 years ago, all these lanes right up here at this next overpass turned into 2. This was the pinch spot right here, and it was absolutely terrible. So they expanded the highway going north and kept all these lanes, which is wonderful. All right, hey, listen, I'm almost back to the house, and we're coming up on 1 hour. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to be home here for a week, but if something interesting is going on, I'll probably come back and stream. If it's something that entertains me, I'm hoping it entertains other people. And I might go back to that Woodlands area, that little river walk, really nice spot down here to check out. We'll see what's happening. But like I said, my honey-do list is an itinerary, so I probably got a bunch of stuff to do. But I'll catch up with you guys later. Take care.